This is one of the first in our kind of more educational webinar series that we plan to have. We typically have a lot of webinars for our API or Scrum in general, or just showing off the new features that we have within Axosoft. But now we're going to start giving something new and just give you a lot of tips and tricks and really show you all the different powerful ways that we can use Axosoft just to, really give you a couple good ideas, not necessarily things that are hidden, but really good easy implementations of things just to really set up great notifications in this sense. So in today's video, what we're going to be showing you is basically just how to, all the different things that we can do in Axosoft with notifications. So basically it's how we can shoot off notifications with style and substance, but mostly with style. All right. Now, of course, the most important thing whenever we're talking really with anything about notifications is what's kicking it off, what's triggering it. And this is kind of like the nuts and bolts of notifications, but I want to show you all of what is possible first. And really where we're going to configure basically everything with our new options is just under Tools, Notifications, and Manage. Where we can actually just start to manage all of our notifications. Really simply, of course, you can create a new notification, name it anything you want. And a lot of these are like the standard CRUD, but there's no refresh. So whenever an item is created, updated, or deleted, I've got a special type that I'll talk about a little bit later, which is basically my favorite. But just to figure, what is triggering the notification, or whether an item is created or updated. And for the most part, they're just going to be updated notifications or simple created notifications. And by default, the updated just means, okay, anything that changes and really in any of these fields will trigger off a notification. So that for most people is kind of overkill. We want to be able to dial it back and really decide which actions are triggering off the notifications. So if you really want to be specific, just go ahead and toggle this radio button that says, okay, when specific fields are updated, go ahead and let people know. We might want to do is say, okay, when the priority changes to high, I then want to go ahead and trigger off a notification. So I'll just select the priority field, click to add a condition, and then at the bottom, we'll just add any recipients, who's it going to be sent to. So it's really as simple as that. We could also combine a bunch of different options here using basically the and or logic here. But remember that if you do have anything that's tied with all of these conditions, that just means that all of these conditions need to be met at the exact same action. So like for instance, if I have the priority is set to high, the status is changed to be reopened. That might be something else that you would want to be included. Anything that is included here with any just matters if any of these triggers are hit. But if you are using the all logic, kind of like the and connector, that just means that both of these things have to occur in the same action. If you change the priority and then save, and then change the status and then save, it won't kick off this notification specifically. All right. But I'm just going to keep it with any of these conditions. So basically, if any of these things change, I want to kick off the notification, and then just decide who we want it to be sent the email. Here you can add any of your users, any of your customers. You can also add any of your teams. So if you want to notify like your entire dev team about any of these changes, you can. And basically anytime you have a team as being recipient, any members of that team would also receive that notification. But typically for notifications, and really the only default notifications that we have are setting things just to the assigned to. And this is great just because you don't have to configure tons of notifications for each individual person. And it kind of knows who would be the interested party. In this case, it's who is actually assigned. You can also add like the customer contact. So that's like the customer who actually created the notification. And then the other important token that we have is the created by email address. So if you are like a help desk team and people are shooting off emails to you, but they're not necessarily customers in your system, we can also notify them by keeping them as the created by email address and sending them a notification. All right. The system is smart enough if you have two different rules that would have been sent to the same person, it's only going to send them one notification. So basically at max, you're only going to get one notification for each action. So, for instance, if you have one notification that says notify the assigned to when this changes, and then you have a notification that says, specifically let the administrator know, and it happens to be assigned to the administrator, you would think that there would be two different notifications, hence two emails. But actually, Axosoft is going to only send the one email, just to not kind of over bombard and cause confusion as to what's going on. So at max, you can only receive one notification just for each change within Axosoft. All right, and that's basically it for recipients. Like I mentioned, the default that we have is just the assigned to, which is a great starting place. But if you want to keep your customers notified of what's going on, you can also just add any additional options there. Okay. Oh, I didn't give it a name. So naming your notifications is also a great way just to be able to keep track of them later. So I'll just say, okay, if the priority set to high or reopened. Okay. And then just like one other quick example, something that we do here at Axosoft, of course, we always want to keep our customers notified whenever we do, go and fix out bugs. We have just one that's just called, fixed bug. Okay. And this is just like a really simple rule. So whenever we update a bug, and just go ahead and set its workflow step just to be fixed, we're going to let our customers know. So it doesn't matter if they entered it through our portal or if they sent in an email. We'll still go ahead and let them know, hey, your issue's gone and been fixed. So that's a very practical example where you're keeping your customers notified of new defects that you've gone and pushed out. All right. So I labeled this, of course, creating your notifications with style and substance. And now we get to the fun part, which is actually setting up the style. So what do these emails actually look like when our customers receive them? All right. So the place where we actually configure this is the actual notification template. So we have a lot of templates here in Axosoft. And of course, whenever you're creating a notification, you can also set different templates there as well. So just checking my levels. So for notifications, I did kind of skip over this step right here where I get to select what notification template am I actually using. So what's being sent out to my customers when this is triggered. And here, let's actually edit this one that I just created for when I fixed a defect. All right. So from this menu, we can go ahead and select which template will be used from our drop-down menu. And you can even modify the templates right from here as well under Manage Notification Templates. And here I've got one just called Bug Fix Template. And this is just really kind of simple what we have and just gives customers some of the information that we would need. All right. So a couple of quick things with setting out notifications. You would definitely want to update the from address just to something at your company, just to let your customers know kind of where it's coming from. And also, if this is being used as like a help desk or for bug controls, you would also probably want to make sure that the address that you're using here whenever sending email is the same one that you're pulling in back into your Axosoft account whenever emails are sent there, just so if a customer replies, it'll go ahead and update the item just so you can get more information. All right. A couple other things we can do is just go ahead and add any fields that we have regarding the item as placeholders, either in the subject line or the body. Definitely for the subject line, you're going to want to include this tag which is actually there by default. And really what this is that it's in square brackets and then has a pound sign, and then just has the item ID. And what this is going to do is that it's going to, if I actually preview this, go ahead and give my customers the item ID. It has a great little reference for them if they ever need anything and they want to call back and reference, oh, I've got a question about bug 9876. They have it right there. Plus, this will also be used if the customer ever replies to this notification, and we'll go ahead and affix it to the appropriate item, because now we know what item it is, and it looks specifically for the square brackets, the pound sign, and then the item ID. All right, and then basically the fun part was where we get to actually update the look of the notification. You can even just get to the source if you want to go and modify it that way. Sorry, there is a little bit of a bug where it is only showing a couple of inches here. But what we can do is if you do really want to kind of go and play around with it a little bit, you can use our scratch pad, which is a great little tool. You can just pop out our scratch pad, and you can build any templates you want here, and then just copy and paste the source. Just a little workaround for the current version. Okay, so we can of course use HTML, like any type of options that you would want. Let me just go ahead and pop back to editing my template. So really anything that you would want, and if you want to add any images, we can do that here as well. And really, just for an image, you would need to just post the URL of the image. We do this just because when sending out notifications, you could send out dozens of notifications just for a single change, or send hundreds or thousands of notifications a day if you're making a lot of updates. And we just don't want to overload your servers or other servers, or even our own servers with large image data. So this way, it'll just it forces you to include just a link to an image. So let me go ahead and grab a link to an image so that we can include that there. I've got one just saved in my scratch pad. And now when I go back to my template, let's just paste this right in here. And I've got a fun little image of just us at Axosoft hanging out, drinking some Macallan neat over here. So now when our customers get, hey, your bug's been fixed, they can see a nice little picture of who actually got around to fixing it for them. Okay, so with notifications, you can of course really just add any information that you do want. You can have a little bit of fun with this and show off some of your personality, but really, it's kind of whatever you want. And we've got a lot of power because we can determine which notifications are using which template. So this one, we get to have fun and celebrate the fact, hey, we fixed your bug, and we can have a nice little fun message there as well. Okay, so I mentioned it right up here. The next thing I want to talk briefly about is that you can use different templates to send out to your users and to your customers, because for your customers, you might want to give just a little bit of more information, letting them know status updates. But for your users, sometimes it's a little bit helpful to give them more information that they need, just because there might be like internal notes that you want them to know about and include in that email. So whenever you are just going ahead and updating your notification, in addition just to selecting which template you can use, you can say, okay, use a different template for my customers. And you can say, okay, I want my customers to get this template. And, it could have a little bit more fluffy language, or hide some internal fields that you don't necessarily want them to receive. All right, because Axosoft is smart enough to know whenever you are sending something to a customer or a user. You can also add SMS numbers here. So I don't have this enabled right here to send out to SMS customers, but you can also add to any email address. So if I want to just send specifically to like my company, at axosoft.com. It'll notice that it's just a regular email address and go ahead and shoot that out. The only difference between these two is because you would remember that in our notifications, you can also include a link to the item so they can view in your customer portal. And that's just if you go ahead and just say insert placeholder URL. System is smart enough to know, okay, is it being sent to a customer or is it being sent to a user? And if it's a user, it'll send them just to your full Axosoft account. If they're a customer, they'll be brought to the customer portal where they can view that information as well if they do want to give other stuff. Plus, there's kind of like a little trick. Like right here, you'll notice that if I preview this, it'll give me the full, it'll just go ahead and give me the full option here. But since we do have the ability just to create links here, if you want to go ahead and, if you want to just include that option as the hyperlink to it, then you can actually create different hyperlinks in different places. So this one, I've just got like the title, and now this is actually clickable, and you'll notice that this goes actually goes right to my customer portal for the item. So, a nice little way just to go ahead and add that option and, make some friendly notifications. All right. Okay, since I did briefly talk about it and I did kind of skip over it, I want to show you where we can enable SMS notifications. So to configure that setting, it's just under Tools, Manage Extensions. We got SMS and Telephony, and you can just go ahead and make it active. Now, whenever we go ahead and add notifications, you can enter just phone numbers right in there where the recipient option is. So here, if I ever want to notify someone, I can also just put in a number. So here, I'll just put in my my phone number here, just 800-653-0024, which is right at us at support. And now we can go ahead and shoot that off. So now whenever an item is changed, it'll go ahead and shoot off a notification. This is probably something you want to reserve just for high priority items, but it's definitely invaluable just to be able to have that tie-in just to an SMS option. All right, great. So we kind of showed you how to format those emails. The great thing about this is that you can just paste in HTML or even manipulate the source right there. So like any of your email signatures, anything that you already use, you can really create some really great looking notifications here. All right, now continuing on, I just have a couple other quick tips since we're still talking about traditional notifications. These are things that are kind of hidden under settings, but will definitely make your life easier in certain circumstances. So these options that I'm going to talk about are all kind of under the main option for Tools, Notifications, and Settings. And some things that you definitely would want to make note of is the first thing is that we can deactivate sending notifications from the system very easily. And this is important if you're just making like a whole bunch of updates and you're moving stuff around and you don't want to shoot off, tons and tons of emails just to all of your users, creating confusion. So like if you're moving stuff around and making some mass updates and don't want to, just kind of annoy people and send up barrages of emails, just go ahead, disable notifications, click Save, make any updates you need, and then just remember to go ahead and turn notifications back on. Oh, sorry, clicked the wrong button. Again, it would just be Tools, Notifications, Settings. Just remember to go ahead and turn that back on once you're finished. All right. The next thing is this is actually set by default to do not send a notification who triggers the action or who triggers the notification. And I put a big note here that's saying, okay, sending to the user who triggered the notification is something that we can do, and it's great for testing, not usually great for other times. So basically the reason is, okay, if I've got a notification that says, let me know when the due date changes, if someone's setting a due date. If I'm the person who's making that change, I don't need an email to let me know I made the change. I made the change. I'm fully aware that that change was made. So by default, it's just not there. Mostly because when you're working on an item, you're going to be making a bunch of changes that you probably don't need to be notified of. However, if you're working on an item and someone else makes a change to that item, you definitely want to know about that. So that's kind of like the default setting. However, most of the guys who are going to be watching this video, if a lot of you guys are like the administrator for your company and you're configuring the notifications and want to do some testing out, you might want to just disable this option so that you can send stuff to yourself and make sure that it's all working, and then just make sure to go ahead and re-enable it once you're finished. All right. Then lastly, we do have a cool option right here just to be able to go ahead and send notifications to inactive users, which you can actually use for a number of ways. Sometimes you can notify other systems. So if that's something that you want to go and have a notification trigger off an email to another system, but they're not actually a user of a product, it's just something that'll be sent to accounting or something else that you need. You don't need a full user license for that. You can just create them as a user, make sure that they're set to inactive, and they don't even take up a license. All right, so if you just create a user here, make sure that they're inactive, they'll still get any emails that would be triggered to them if you have that setting turned on. So that's great for a lot of times. Sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, I can leverage that for my integrations. But what if I do have users that have left the company that I just made inactive because I don't want to delete them from my system and lose all that information, but I don't want them to get notifications either? There's a really simple case for that. So if someone has like actually left the company and you don't want them to get notifications, just go ahead and make sure that they're set to inactive, and then just delete their email address. So this way you're still using the option where you're actually sending notifications to inactive users, but we're not getting ones just to places that to inboxes that can't actually receive them. So it allows you to kind of have both, and to only send to the inactive users that you would like. Okay, so those are mostly just like little tips that you want to have. Just make sure that you actually are configured to send notifications. That's something there. But if you're making mass updates, go ahead and quickly disable them. And just make sure if you're doing your testing that you know that you're not going to get your own notifications unless you disable that option as well. Okay, so this is kind of the nuts and bolts of everything. We've showed you kind of the mechanism at which we can trigger notifications, how to configure what they look like by managing the templates. But now I want to really get to more fun stuff. Of course, all that stuff is documented and easy to discover, but these are really the more useful cases where we can really have the Axosoft system just make sure that you're staying on top of everything. So the next thing I want to talk about really is filter matched notifications. And these are the ones that I mentioned. They were my favorite that I kind of skipped over, saying that I'd get to them later in the class. Now is later in the class. And the reason that they're my favorite is that they're so flexible. Because really, the reason they're so flexible is that we can make any filter we want using Axosoft's filter engine. So you can create really powerful filters and then create notifications based off of any items that meet those filters. So that's cool because we're not monitoring little changes. Nothing has to happen to have items meet a filter. In fact, nothing can happen, and sometimes nothing is what we want to check on. So for instance, what we have often here as an example is, if our users have something that is that's due in the next day, we want to send out like a little friendly reminder. That could be very simple. We would just go ahead and create a filter, just like you would any other one in Axosoft, and we'll say due today. Right. So we of course would probably want stuff that is, like I said, the due date is just within, sorry. So it's within the next one day. And we don't want to let them know if stuff's due if they've already completed it. So we'll just also add the other option should just say, okay, the status is not in closed. So if it's not closed and due today, then go ahead and let me know, and we can meet all these options here. All right, so the way that we, of course, go ahead and set this up, again, tools, notifications, manage, where we've been setting up all of our notifications. And this is the additional option that we have all the way on the right that says filter match notification. These ones are really easy to configure once you have your filter set up. So deciding what options you want to have set up, just select which filter. So we've got all items that are closed this week, and then we can go ahead and schedule this out. So you can have this set up just like a one-time thing. You could have it be sent out weekly, daily. In this case, it would probably be good if we were just setting it out daily, and just maybe checks every hour and goes ahead and sends it out. A couple other important things just to go ahead and make sure is that we do have this setting here, which just says, don't send emails for an item that matches this filter consecutively, recommended. We have a lot of recommendations here at Axosoft. We don't have a lot of recommendations where we tell you right there that it's recommended. We have a lot of smart defaults, but we do have, sometimes like when we say, hey, this is kind of a good idea, we'll go ahead and give you a little nudge saying that something is recommended there. Basically what this means is that if an item matches this filter consecutively, is it going to keep bugging you, or is it going to be like, oh, well, I already set him out that one warning, I don't need to keep after him? And sometimes that is wanted, where like if you set up like a daily notification and something is due today or past due, because then you could be like, hey, this is overdue. Hey, this is overdue. Hey, this is overdue. And maybe once a day or like once a week, it's good to give like that little bit of a nudge. But if you're just kind of checking them on a more regular basis, you'd probably want to just send out that one email. All right. So let me go ahead and give a great example of this, because this is something that we use here in Axosoft for our own support for our customers when we help you out, and we use it just for our SLA. So what we can do is that you can basically create a filter that will set up to any other options of your service level agreement, and then trigger off an email or a warning if anything is sitting idle for X number of hours. So let's go ahead and create an example of this, just like I said, for help desk tickets. I've got a filter here that says, hey, my computer's been on fire for more than an hour and it's not been closed or resolved. You can create a filter for this just saying, hey, it's open and its created date was, it's more than an hour in the past. So if we go ahead and just create a notification with that, we basically would want it to be checking basically all the time. So here's my little notification. So anything that's on fire for more than an hour, go ahead and let us know what's going on. So for this, you'd probably want it just to check daily. The lowest cycle that we can have is every 15 minutes. So just have it checking every 15 minutes, just constantly running. So now if I do have anything that is on fire for more than an hour, it'll go ahead and let me know. So because this is triggered from a schedule, I'm not going to have you guys wait around for it. So what we do have is that I can go ahead and pull up the email right here, just kind of pull it out of the oven, fresh baked, kind of like the little barefoot Contessa, and show you what this could look like. And this is great because it'll be able to show me these items have been on fire for more than an hour, gives me links to an item, and they're all in a neat table. And it just is very easy just to go ahead and take a look at what's going on. I've even got a nice little picture of our support team that I think it's something that we tweeted out earlier on that I included in the email just for a little bit of flair. So filter match notifications are great because nothing ever changed for the item, and now it's letting me know, hey, these things have been on fire for over an hour. Someone should probably get to them, or these things are due, and consolidates everything just into a single email, so you get a nice little list. Right. Something else that's really, really cool about filter matched notifications is that since it sends everything out in one consolidated email, like this list, what we can do is that we can set something up where the notification will be sent to the assigned to field. And now what the system's going to do is that it's going to look for all the items that meet that filter. It's going to build a little list. And then what it's going to do is that if I'm looking at the assigned to one, say that I've got a 5-member support team. Okay, they've all got items that are assigned to them in a round robin fashion, or they've already started to work on things. And say that there's 20 people's computers on fire. It's going to build a list of everything that matches that filter, which is everyone whose computer is on fire. And now it's going to send a notification only to the person that it's assigned to. So that's great because they're not just seeing like a full list. They're only seeing the ones that they're responsible for in this little table. All right. So filter match notifications, I try to plug it as much as I can whenever customers call up with saying, oh, I want to do this or I want to know this. There's usually a way that we can set it up there. And you can actually get really creative with these things just to make sure that nothing is falling through the cracks. Okay, great. So I mentioned that this was my favorite, and I definitely wasn't lying about it. And it's something that has become invaluable for our own support practices here, just so when we say, hey, we're going to get back to you on that, just to make sure that we as mortals don't fail and actually get back to all of our customers. All right, and then lastly, I've been talking a lot about emails. I mean, we did talk about SMS messaging, but for the most part, it's all been email-based for notifications. So the next question is there anything else? Is there anything else to life besides email notifications? And yes, the answer is yes. One of the things that we can do is we can actually post to a couple different chat services. We integrate natively with Slack, Yammer, and HipChat. We're a Slack company here, and we use this extensively for our own integration. And it's all through an add-on which is called Social Connect. And for more information, go to socialconnect.axosoft.com. All right, great. So we've covered, of course, all the emails, all the other cool stuff we can do besides emails. And really, that's basically what we can do. We've covered the whole Venn diagram, everything that is sending out a notification with an email and everything that's sending out a notification that's not an email. So I just want to kind of do like a quick recap and just say, notifications really are pretty simple to configure within Axosoft. You just go to Tools, Notifications, Manage, decide what's going to be triggering it, who you want to go and send it to. You create all of your templates just by going to Tools, Notifications, Templates, of course. And you can really have just a lot of fun with these. It's a great way just to communicate with your customers, show a little bit of your sense of humor, or even if you don't have a sense of humor, but you still want to keep everything consistent with all of your messaging and branding and just reinforce it that way, you can do that as well. But we'd like to go and have a little bit of fun with it, especially if you're reaching out to your customers when you're fixing bugs. Like that's a cause for celebration, so we can have some fun with that. And also all the different ways we can stay on top of important items using filter match notifications. So really nothing falls through the cracks. We try to make the Axosoft application very easy to use and customize so you can see whatever you want. However, there's always times when that's not going to happen, or you're not going to be logged in, and you still want to make sure that stuff isn't falling behind. And your filter match notifications are a great way of doing that. So I just want to thank everyone so much for attending today's webinar, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page to get notifications for all of our new webinars and videos.